Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I think Mr. Sid has I know it's not normal to do this at this type of meetings, but if I'd like to add an item under new things. Item 12.44, motion to accept a motion to do some repairs at the Billigos Cove Wharf. Do you agree with the agenda? We need proposed by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Hill. All those in favour? Motion carried. Then number 3, declaration of conflict of interest. Are there any items on the agenda this evening that puts you in a conflict of interest state? If not, we go to number 4, presentations. Before we go to number 4, I would like to talk a bit about our colleague Brian. This died in late June, and he was in District 5 since 2004 for 1/3 of his life. He worked hard to betterment he was gentle, intelligent, sincere, and always ready to help. He really liked his community very profoundly, and it was visible in everything he did. Brian he will be greatly missed, and in the name of the whole council and personally, I offer my sympathies, condolences to his wife Lisa, Naomi, and his 2 children. After to assure the continuity of in District 5, we must go into the process. I will invite Mr. Seal to explain what is involved in the special election to replace Brian on District number 5. Thank you. According to the municipal election out there, as the municipality has a maximum of 4 weeks to fix a date for the new election to replace Councillor post in District 5, and we have a maximum of 11 weeks to conclude all the electoral process, and elect a new councillor. This being said, we started here with the staff to plan the special election for District 5, and in order to do this, we need a few motions from council to allow us to proceed. More specifically, we need a motion to elect director of the polling office, and a motion to determine the type of election that we wish to have, a motion to fix the date of the election, and also a budget for the election, and finally a motion to accept the date, to finish the list of available electors. So if you allow me to, if we go with each of these items, I will propose a motion for each of these. The idea is to have the motions approved this evening so that we can go ahead with this. The first motion is to, okay.
So the first one is to name a returning officer for the special election. It's my recommendation that Pam Doucette be named as returning officer. She has been returning officer for the last few elections that we've had. She knows this issue very well, and it's something that she's ready to do for us in this case. So if you're in agreement, we would need a motion to appoint Madame Doucette as the returning officer. Any questions or comments on this so far? If not, is somebody prepared to make the motion? Councillor Hill.
Municipality of the District of Clare appoint Pam Doucette as a returning officer for the 2025 special election.
Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Cooper. All in favor? Against? Carried. The second motion that I would ask you to consider with regards to election is the motion to set a date for the completion of the amended list of electors for the 2025 special election. In discussion with the staff here, it's recommended that this date be set as August 26, 2025. If you're in agreement with that, I would ask you to adopt this motion. Questions or comments on this one? If not, is somebody prepared to move it? Councillor Cooper. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare set August 26, 2025 as the date for the completion of the amended list of electors for the 2025 special election. Moved by Councillor Cooper, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All in favor? Against? Carried. Thank you very much. The third motion with regards to the election is to set the date for the election itself. The date that we're proposing is Saturday, October 4th, 2025. The date was chosen as a function of the criteria of under the Provincial Act, and it respects the 11-week period. So if you're in agreement, I would ask you to adopt this motion to set the date for the special election for District 5 on October 4th, 2025. Questions or comments on this one? Councillor DeVoe. I would like to move. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare set October 4th, 2025 as the date of the special election for District 5. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Evans. All in favor? Against? Carried. I have two others. The next one is to select the type of election. Traditionally, the municipality of Clare, we have hybrid elections. That is, people can vote using electronic means, or they can vote with in person with a paper ballot. We are recommending here that we continue with that model. And what we're proposing is a hybrid election for District 5. And the advance polls, that is when people, the residents of District 5, will be able to vote electronically. And that period will be from September 26, 2025, up to and including October 4th, 2025. Those who wish to vote with a paper ballot can do that on Election Day, which is on October 4th, 2025. The polling station where people will be able to vote, we expect that it will be at the new Veterans Center in Sonyville. If you agree with that, especially the type of election, that is a hybrid model, we would ask you to adopt this motion. Questions or comments on this one, Councillor Comeau? I'm prepared to move. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare have a hybrid election with electronic voting during the advance polls from September 26, 2025 up to and including October 4, 2025, and paper ballots on Election Day, October 4, 2025. Moved by Councillor Comeau, seconded by Deputy Warden Potier. All in favor? Yes. Carried. The last one. The last motion that I need tonight, with your permission, would be to set a budget for this special election. Clearly, this is not something that was planned, as you know. That being said, there are nevertheless some costs associated with the election for District 5. So we've looked at what we might expect as cost, and we've estimated that the cost will be approximately $15,000. So the budget that we're proposing tonight is because we have nothing for that in our 2025-2026 operational budget. So for this exercise, I would ask you to approve a budget of $15,000 for this special election. Questions or comments on this? Deputy Warden Potier, I'm prepared to move. I move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare set the budget for the 2025 special election at $15,000 and that these funds be taken from the municipality's operational reserve. Moved by Deputy Warden Potier, seconded by Councillor Evans. All in favor? Against? Carried. Just to conclude the discussion on this, a couple of things. If somebody has questions specifically on the election, I would invite you to communicate with Pam Doucette directly. For those who may be interested or who might want to be a candidate in the election, they can do so by setting an appointment with Madame Doucette as of August 28th until September 8th. So this would be an in-person meeting with Madame Doucette by appointment. As of 9th of September, that is a day, that's the last day for people to declare their nomination. On September 9th, Madame Doucette will be in her office from 9 to 5, and people who want to meet with her or be a candidate will not need an appointment that day. We would accept walk-in candidates on that date. So for anybody who's interested, those are the dates where you can pose your candidacy. But as I said earlier, anybody who has any questions, I would invite them to contact Madame Doucette directly. Thank you. I don't know if you have any questions or comments on this. No?
Okay.
If not, that concludes number 4.
This is number 5,
Gets us to
adoption
number
of minutes. The one on the June 18, 2025 regular council meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Proposed by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Cooper. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. On July 9th there was a council and committee meeting. Have you looked at the minutes of this meeting? I'd like to make the motion. Proposed by Conseiller Como, seconded by Conseiller Cooper. All those in favour? Against? Motion carried. Number 6, business arising from previous council meetings. We don't have any items there, so this brings me to my report. On June 20th, I assisted to prizes given to the first at the Ren that was given to Lily Composites. It's a very innovative enterprise business in Clare, and Conseiller Cooper was with us that evening. There was a couple of runner-ups, and it was nice to see that the initiative is starting on this dossier. The June 22nd, I had an open door, which was the open door at the Hectanuga firefighters. We had the community center. They were bouncing dress for the children, and it was a really nice day. It was standing room only, and there was a very good turnout. The community center is now on a good start. On June 25th, I went to the general annual meeting of the Ren in Tuscot, where the new board was appointed and proposed the strategic plan. Councillor Cooper was also there for that event. And on July 1st, I went to the National Canada celebrations at the university in Church Point. There were games for the children. There was a big crowd. And on July 5th, I went to the funeral of Councillor Brian Como. A lot of us were there. It was a nice day, but not for the good reasons, obviously. On July 7th, I went to a meeting of the Consultation Committee on policing in our region. So that's the end of my report. If you have any questions, number 8, official statements from members of council. Councilor Cooper, thank you. I would just like to take a moment to congratulate the 10 young people from Clare who went to Quebec to participate in the Francophone games in Quebec. It is very inspiring to see our young people participating in these to represent not only the sport but representing Clare community in the provincial. There was a 6 medal, gold medal, 2, and there was other. We would like to congratulate all those people who participated. Are there any other statements? We come to the correspondence. The Honourable Becky Drouin, Attorney General and Minister of Justice in Nova Scotia. Thank you. The warrant.
The future of policing in Nova Scotia. Following an extensive and inclusive process that began in September 2023, the Government of Nova Scotia is releasing the outcomes of the Comprehensive Policing Review. I write to you in your role as Warden of the Municipality of the District of Clare to share details of the review, including the report from Deloitte and government response entitled Shaping the Future Policing in Nova Scotia. This review represents one of the most significant evaluations of our policing system in recent history, and I want to express my deepest gratitude to the more than 6,900 Nova Scotians who participated directly, as well as the hundreds of police officers, municipal leaders, and system partners who generously contributed their time, insights, and lived experiences. As you know, in Nova Scotia, the responsibility for policing is shared. Municipalities are responsible for funding and maintaining an adequate, efficient, and effective police service within their jurisdiction, including staffing, equipment, and facilities. The province is responsible for setting policing standards and oversight. The result of the review is clear and compelling. The status quo is not an option. Citizens have a right to feel safe in their communities, and they are demanding more. They are right. Under-resourcing and inconsistent policing levels across the province cannot continue. We are committed to working collaboratively with municipalities to build a stronger system of public safety where every Nova Scotian, regardless of where they live, has access to high-quality, modern policing services. Deloitte has recommended a path forward that will ensure policing in Nova Scotia is consistent, responsive, community-focused, and equipped to meet evolving needs. Based on extensive research and analysis, Deloitte recommends the implementation of foundational changes and the expansion of the provincial police, being the RCMP. Deloitte didn't take this process lightly, and their detailed report lays out the reasons for their recommendations. All Nova Scotians deserve to have safe communities supported by visible officers who can respond promptly and effectively to the full spectrum of police safety issues. The province intends to adopt 6 foundational recommendations that will serve as the cornerstone of a renewed policing model in Nova Scotia. We will be taking immediate actions to address each one, and we will increase our investment in provincial systems to support these changes, as well as make the necessary changes to the Nova Scotia Police Act. The foundational changes are a unified records management system, enhanced police resourcing, a layered policing model, establishment of community safety boards, provincial policing standards, and finally, a new billing framework. Deloitte has also recommended an expansion of the provincial police service. We know that there are many communities in which the RCMP detachment is under-resourced. A plan to appropriately resource detachments will be supported by the establishment of a new billing framework and working collaboratively with H Division and municipalities to assess current needs. This vision of policing in Nova Scotia will require both provincial and municipal action. We are committed to working collaboratively with the RCMP and municipalities to build a stronger system of public safety where every Nova Scotian, regardless of where they live, has access to high-quality, modern policing services. This summer, I will be meeting with you to discuss your municipality's role in policing and how we can work together to align with the new provincial framework. These conversations will help us chart a path that reflects local needs and realities without compromising public safety. I look forward to these conversations and to building a stronger, safer Nova Scotia together. Thank you for your continued leadership and dedication to public safety. With respect and appreciation, Becky Drouin, Attorney General and Minister of Justice.
Des questions?
Do you have questions or comments on this letter? I know if it's something we should see, invite the GRC to come here to see if it aligns with our adjustments that we have made. If you don't have any more questions, we will go to the next item. 9.2, Linda Gregory, Warden, Municipality of the District of Digby. It is a letter that was sent to the President and SMFM, and the municipality received a copy.
Writing to express our growing concern regarding the deteriorating condition of roads in our region and across the province, due in large part to insufficient funding allocated to the Department of Public Works for improvements in year-round road maintenance. As was discussed during our recent council meeting, the lack of adequate and sustained investments in our road is preventing the timely completion of road improvement priorities. There is also a lack of road maintenance funds, which has led to difficult choices being made as funds used during the winter has led to a reduced amount being available for the summer. There are numerous staff vacancies in the Department of Public Works, due in large part to inadequate compensation. These are all funding-related issues and need to be addressed. These issues are leading to worsening conditions of our roads and are increasing safety risks for residents, businesses, and visitors. We are deeply concerned that this issue is not isolated to our municipality, but rather is indicative of a larger province-wide problem that requires immediate attention and collaborative advocacy. We respectfully request that NSFM consider elevating this issue as a priority in its discussions with the province of Nova Scotia and advocate for increased funding and strategic planning to support road improvements and consistent year-round road maintenance across all regions. This letter has been shared with the Honourable Jill Balser, MLA for Digby and Annapolis, and circulated to all municipal units in Nova Scotia to raise collective awareness and seek unified support on this important matter. Thank you for your ongoing efforts to represent the interests of municipalities across the province. We appreciate your attention to this issue and look forward to further discussions on how we can work together to advocate for safer, better maintained roadways for all Nova Scotians. Sincerely, Linda Gregory, Warden, Municipality of Digby.
Question?
Questions or comments on this letter? I think she's pretty on the point for everything that she mentions. This is a condition of most of the roads across the province, not only us. So it's going to be interesting to see how the next meeting of NSSM will treat this topic. Thank you. This brings us to 9.3, Honourable John Law, Minister of Municipal.
On behalf of the Department of Municipal Affairs, I wish to extend our sincere condolences for the recent loss of Councillor Brian Comeau. He has been highly praised for his contributions to the municipality of the District of Clare and for his wisdom, kindness, and leadership. We share your admiration for his dedication to the municipality's well-being, as well as grief in his passing. His legacy will live on in the improvements and commitment he has made for your community. This is a profound loss for you and the community of Clare. May his memories be shared and carry you all through this difficult time. We are very sorry for your loss. Sincerely, John Law, Minister of Municipal Affairs.
Comment on this letter? Thank you. It's nice to be aware of the recognition he was giving. So, prevalence of electricity.
Yvon LeBlanc, Council and Staff. The Electric City La Nouvelle France Society is pleased to invite Warden LeBlanc, Council and Staff to our open house on July 25th from 1 to 3 in the afternoon at our centre, 4468 Trunk 1 in Weymouth. There will be an update on our progress in establishing an interactive interpretive centre that will share the marvelous story of La Nouvelle France with the world. A discussion of future plans and projects and light refreshments will be served. Our special guest, the Honourable Jill Balser, MLA, will bring a special announcement from the Government of Nova Scotia. We are also hopeful that MLA Ryan Robichaud will be in attendance. We would be very appreciative if Warden LeBlanc or a representative of Council would share a few comments with our guest. Best regards, Stacey Doucette, Hal Theriault, co-chairs the Electric City La Nouvelle France Society.
Any questions or comments on this item? I don't know if you will be around. I will be there for the event and will present a few words. If you want to come and speak, you're more than welcome to be present also. This finishes our correspondence. Number 10, we have the report of the CEO.
Thank you, Mr. Just a brief overview of our projects. The project at the medical center is still moving ahead. The new procedures room upstairs is almost complete. We're saying over the next week or two it'll be complete. The elevator is being tested this week. We're hoping that it will be operational early next week. Still a bit of testing, so there could be a bit of a delay. Currently, the bulk of the work is complete. We're working on a list of deficiencies that were identified and trying to work to address the items that are on that list. The good news, VON, the Victorian Order of Nurses, moved into their new office in the new section of the medical center. They're renting 2 offices from us as well as a storage room, and we're told that they really like the new workspace. As well, the Nova Scotia Health Authority, Mental Health and Addictions, they are renting 2 offices, but they've decided to increase their resources there, so they're renting a third office from us in the new section, and they have also moved into their new workspace, and everything is going well with them as well. If we look at the patient list or waiting list, currently in Clare, we have 69 people who are on the list waiting to get a family doctor. Of those 69, 23 have already been contacted in order to match them with a doctor. The other 46 will be contacted shortly. We still have capacity at the center to match residents who don't have a doctor with one of the doctors at the center. Our Veterans Center project in Sonyville is moving ahead well. Currently, they're painting the main room and the entranceway, the kitchen, and the multifunctional room and the studio. The rough-ins for the mechanical room have been completed. The tiling in the bathroom started this week. All of the equipment for the kitchen will be delivered before the end of July. The transformer pad outside the building has been installed, and the transformer arrived on site earlier this week. That was one of the key items, a transformer, because we knew there was a long lead time to get a transformer, so that's a good thing. Bird and the other contractors on site are getting ready to start working on the parking lot. So within a few days, you'll see that there'll be some changes on site. We're going to lose some trailers and the sea can. They will be moved elsewhere on the site, and that is to start the paving work for the new parking lot. Also, access to the site will be limited including the skating facility, to allow that work to be done safely. In terms of a timeline, we still estimate having the project completed by the end of August. So as I said, the project is coming along nicely. As far as the sewer system extension in Metegan, for the project that we're working on, the tender for the extension came out today. It's on the provincial website as well as our municipal website. And the tender will be open until August 7th, 2025. As well, as far as the upgrades to our sewage treatment plant in Metegan, we have had discussions and we're reviewing it with the changes proposed by the engineers. There's a lot of discussion between our staff and the engineers. The discussion was good. We expect to have the final report this week, and then we will proceed with the upgrades to our plant, which is really the second part of this project. As far as the sidewalks in Metegan, I spoke with Gary and Construction, our contractor. I've been told that all the deficiencies that had been identified earlier this year, last winter, have been addressed, with the exception of the pavement on Route 1. Aberdeen was supposed to start that work last week, but they had a delay on another job that they couldn't get here to do the necessary work. That being said, we still expect a new date from Aberdeen as to when they might come. I think they will try to line that up when they're doing the work at the Veteran Center. As far as our land use bylaw, municipal planning strategy, not much change since last month. The consultants, Stantec, are working to incorporate the recommendations and the comments that were made during our public information meeting on May 27th at the Clare Curling Club, as well as the feedback and comments that we got after that meeting. We are supposed to get a revised report this week, so that my team and I will do a last review of that before posting the document on our website so that it can be shared with the public. The intent is to have the report available for the public in August, and possibly even for part of September, and then to proceed with a second public meeting to discuss the revisions that were made to the report. Following that session, the intent would be to have a public hearing and a second hearing in October or November, in the hopes that this could be finalized in December 2025. I had some discussions with the province this week because they're offering us some financial assistance for this project. The province is aware of what we're doing and the fact that we want to have more consultations. They see that in a positive light, and they're prepared to give us the time necessary to complete the project, as long as it's completed within this fiscal year, that is before March 31, 2026. As far as our active transportation plan, I will discuss it later tonight. It's under new business, item 12.1. As far as the bathrooms at Parc Joseph and Marie-Dugas and Bellevue Cove, we received our final inspection from Nova Scotia Power to restore power to the site. Everything passed. It was good, no problems. That being said, Nova Scotia Power has to come on site to hook up the power to the post, and there'll be a meter on the pole. We've been told that should happen either tomorrow or Friday. We hope so, because there's some Beau Vendredi supper planned for this coming Friday, as well as another small event Friday night as well at the park. So there's been a lot of delays, but at least if we can have the power there, that'll be a good thing. As well, the preparation of the underslab, including subfloor plumbing, is being done now. The site, the site is connected to the municipal sewage system. All the water lines have been extended to the site where the new bathrooms will be. It's taken some time, but things seem to be progressing. As far as the building for our generator across the road for where our sewage treatment plant is in Bellavos Cove, the building is 80% complete. There's still a bit of site work, a little bit of siding on the building. Currently, the electricians are waiting for the arrival of the transfer switch in order to complete their work. It's I think it was a long lead time, 24 weeks for the transfer switch. We ordered it in May, but I don't think there's going to be too much more on that project until September, October. Once the transfer switch comes, there isn't much to do, but we do need that transfer switch. For our pleasure, Clare Acadian Tourism Experience 26-27, the focus is on our cultural expo, which will take place August 15th and 16th. 30 of the 36 booths have been are spoken for. 25 of those 30 were sold. That is, we have people willing to pay for those booths. The other 5 have been given as contributions to different groups. Kilted Chef, Université Sainte-Anne. Third one, the Grand Fondo, which is a municipal project. Fourth one to Clare Tourism, and the 5th one to the Clare Acadian Festival. The programming for that expo has been finalized and will include, among other things, culinary demonstrations from the Kilted Chef, to show from Béangeois, musicians during the 2 days, as well as cultural presentations. Another part of that project are one-on-one consultations with stakeholders in the tourist sector as well as in the restaurant sector here in Clare, and that is with the Kilted Chef. We have had 11 of those so far. Among those 11, it includes Como Seafoods, Acadian Musical Hikes, a problem from Vicky Deveau, the Beau Vendredi and Vieille Côte Restaurant, Wheelhouse Seafood Pasta, Cuisine Robichaud and Petit Robichaud, Como's Farm Market and Bakery, Codbury Cider, and Little Brook Distillery and Maison Muse Winery. For our program of veterans banners, I had mentioned last month that all of the forms had been prepared in preparation for the launch of that program. We have confirmed the cost of these banners, and the design of the banner was finalized and was vetted by the Clare Veterans Association, who gave us a bit of feedback, but generally they were happy with the design. I've also mentioned last month that for the first year we were looking for a maximum of 20 banners, but if we had sufficient demand and with the support of council on the budget aspect, there would be the possibility of making more than 20 if the demand is there. So the intake, the process to apply for a banner will start soon. The process will be announced in the Clare Shopper in the August 7th edition, as well as on our Facebook page. We will also promote it directly with the Clare Veterans Association so that they can talk about it with their members or families of their members or former members. The cost has not changed. Total cost for a banner is $225. We will ask $175 per family for the banner. The municipality will contribute $50 per banner, plus all the costs related to installing these. The deadline for applying for a banner will be August 29th, And currently, we would plan to install the banners in October and to take them down after November 12th, after Remembrance Day on November 11th. We want to keep them as long as possible, but however, with that time of the year, with the winds, we want to minimize the risk of these being damaged. So we'll see. As far as the installation, what was decided in discussion with the Veterans Associations that the banners be positioned in Sonyville on the main road, starting at the Veterans Center and going in each direction, to really have them all in line, one after the other, on the poles, so that they would be quite visible. So that's what is planned for this year. So that project is moving ahead, and we will get more information on this in the coming weeks. The Grand Fondo, the preparation is in place for that. The event will take place at Saint-Anne, like last year. So far, we have 591 people registered, including 195 people from outside of Nova Scotia. As far as the numbers, we're trending a little lower than last year. But if we look at the last few weeks of the month of July, the registrations in July are quite a bit higher than they were last July. So we hope that that trend will continue in August. Finally, because I said I would be brief, but I find I have difficulty in doing that. As far as our finances are concerned, as of end of June, the municipality had $11,778,192 in revenues versus $3,741,407 in expenses, for an operating surplus of $8,036,785. Again, as of June 30th, 2025, the municipality had a balance of $7,594,739 in its operating fund, $16,072 in its capital fund, and a total reserve balance of $3,708,360. The total reserve balance can be broken down as follows: operating reserve $2,313,120, capital reserve $100,241, landfill closure reserve $379,572, our gas tax reserve $391,615, and finally our SSGF reserve $523,812. That's my report, Mr.
Thank you for the report. Are there questions or comments on his report? No? So now this brings us to committee reports on 11.1 Western Counties Regional Library. Rayanne Evans. Thank you. So the general meeting of the libraries of the Western Counties, something that was the most important discussion at the meeting was the lack of funding for all the libraries throughout the province. They are working on a communication plan to try to talk about a lot more to the departments and to launch a campaign and explain why we need more money for the libraries. Unfortunately, we had to approve a budget that was less for buying new books, so we're losing certain services. So they're doing all they can to try to not cut any of the branches in the province, but they're cutting services and cutting hours of work. In our community for Clare, we are at a single employee branch. If there was also security questions because we have only one person, they're open for a couple of hours in the weeks there are certain days where it's completely closed. It is really not good for people who are working to go and use these services, but it's also to tell people that there are other services offered where people go to find information, and they're confident that they will find a place, a security place for new communities. This is where people meet and to learn about cultural items. So it's very important that we continue to push this during the meeting, which was quite important, that we have all the councillors there. We'd like to bring back to our councils to see if we could send a letter to the minister to push the importance of more adequate funding for libraries. So in September 2024, the review committee submitted recommendations to the minister, but nothing has been done since then. So there has been no communication or updates since that letter of 2024. So we had to pass a budget with what we have as information, but we hope that the funding review and the recommendations will come, but as presently there is nothing coming out. So I'd like to make a representation that the municipality send a letter to the province to take immediate action to sustain the libraries in a more positive way. Do you want to time the letter as what they're working for with NSSM, with the department, or should this letter be sent anytime? It can be anytime, and from what I understand, Councillor Davao was there before me. They've been working on this for quite a long time, and I think they're already aware of what has to be done. So the funding review was sent in September 2024, so I think the letter has to be sent to the Honourable Dave Ritchie of Cultural Heritage. This is a dossier that's been worked on for a long time, and I represented to look at the financing of the project. The representative on this end of the province was the former mayor of Digby, Cleveland, but he did not present himself in the last elections. I have received that Western Counties Reader Library this week that I will share with you. There's a dossier that needs a lot to be considered much more important. Do you have any to treat a council to send a letter? If Rayan proposes to make a motion to send a letter, is there somebody who wants to second it? Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor, are you all in favor of sending this letter? For, against, motion is carried. We will send this letter, and thank you. So that's the end of your report. The advisory board, police advisory board with Councillor Cooper. Thank you. The committee, consultative committee on the met on Monday, July 7th. We discussed a lot of items. I will present the most important ones. There was a person at the committee. We have a post in the committee that is nominated by the province, but there was the process have been started by the province and the Department of Applications to receive a new person to be on this committee. There's also two community positions that are available now. One of those will be published on Facebook this coming Friday, and also in the Clare Shopper on the 7th of August. The radars fund is also have been presented in different regions. The sergeant presented his report and how they will hire somebody new at the Batagan department at the end of August, and this also their positions have been put forth, and we hope that it will be filled by the end of September. And finally, he told us there are 3 priorities at the department, which is highway security and crimes and security. And the next meeting of the committee will be this fall, and with a workshop. This will be our new members at that particular time. So that were the most important points of the meeting. Thank you very much. Do you have questions or comments on this report? Not.
If not, that brings us to 11.3, Southwest Nova Biosphere Regional Association. Councillor DeVoe. Thank you, Mr. Warden. We had a meeting on June the 18th. I'm a little late, but I didn't have my report for the last meeting. We spoke about different things as usual, but we spoke about there's 2 billion trees that we would like to have planted. We're thinking of changing the name. 2 billion trees is a lot, and it won't happen because it's just too large a number. So we're looking for a new name for that initiative. So that will be discussed in more detail at the next meeting. We're still trying to purchase pieces of land with the money that we have. With Southwest Nova, we're buying blocks of land to save them, to save the land plus certain plants that are special, and also to save, protect endangered species of animals. So we are still trying to do that, and that part is going well. We had a meeting, or a letter rather, from Mary Guptill. I believe that the municipality might get the same letter because she might send it. She's still talking about last year, I believe. We had a letter from her that some pieces of land during the canoe trip are damaged because of the side-by-sides and four-wheelers that are traveling. So she asked again whether she could get some help from Southwest Nova Biosphere to try to do something about that. There's not too much that we can do. We recognize that it's a problem, but Southwest Nova Biosphere, we don't really have power to do much about that. But we are going to look into it further to help her with that problem. So that concludes my report for Southwest Nova Biosphere Committee. Any questions or comments? Are you accepting suggestions for the new name? They thought about a word, and I forget the one that was, but it was actually quite good. but then when they presented the report, I wish I could remember the name. I think I have it written down at home, but the name was already taken by somebody else, so we weren't able to move ahead with that. So 100 spruce and a yellow birch isn't gonna cut it, eh? Okay, that gets us to 11.4. Councillor DeVoe again, waste check. Thanks again, Mr. Warden. I don't have much to report. We haven't had a meeting since the last one. One thing I would like to mention, as far as the green carts are concerned, in the summer months, if there are people who are having problems with rodents and other animals that are getting into the green bins, what they can do to try to address this problem, even though there is not much in the green cart when it's being picked up, so the week that the green carts are picked up, even if there isn't much in the green bins, put them by the road anyway, because the haulers would rather empty a green cart that doesn't have too much in it than one which is over full. So I would just ask people, if they and even if they don't have a problem with animals, especially in the summer, to put the green cart out every two weeks, even if if there isn't much in it. So thank you. Questions or comments on that? No? Great. Thank you. This brings us to number 12, new business. 12.1, a motion to accept proposal for an active transportation plan. Mr. C, the floor is yours. Thank you. Earlier this year, as part of our operational budget, we had budgeted some funds for the development of an active transportation plan. Our current plan is dated. It's more than 10 years old. Certainly, it needs to be updated, but also we should look at other opportunities for our community and what we want to set as priorities, and as far as our investments in the area of active transportation. So we had a tender call. The tenders closed in July 2nd. We had 3 proposals, and you have this page and a summary of the proposals which we received. You will see that we had a bid that was significantly lower than the other 2, despite the fact that it's interesting. My recommendation is that we don't proceed with the low bidder. In going through the 3 proposals, it was clear that that company had, or it wasn't obvious that they had much experience in the area of active transportation and development of plans for active transportation. Their specialty, their field of activity seems to be focused on tourism and marketing, content creation, etc., but not necessarily in terms of planning and plans, especially for active transport. If we look at the other 2, there was Upland Planning, Designing, and Urban Systems Limited. If you look at their proposals and the contracts they've had in the past, both of these have a lot of experience when it comes to active transportation. Upland specifically has prepared 12 of these plans in Nova Scotia for different municipalities, and a lot on this end of the province. And Upland is familiar with Clare. They developed our tourism plan, and that experience was positive for us. Urban Systems Limited is a company, national company, with a lot of experience in this area. Not too much of a physical presence in Nova Scotia, but they have done some projects in Nova Scotia. And they're currently completing an active transportation plan for the municipality of Yarmouth. And in talking with the CAO in Yarmouth, she says that it's been a positive experience. I would be comfortable in recommending both of those companies. That being said, my recommendation here for the council tonight is that we proceed with the proposal from Upland Planning for $69,930 plus HST for a few specific reasons. I mentioned earlier that they have a lot of experience in this area and experience in with municipal units in Nova Scotia. They know the municipality of Clare very well because they've developed our tourism plan, so they already know the players that they will be dealing with as part of the consultations for this plan. And finally, the amount, the $69,930, is less than what we had budgeted for this project. And finally, just as a reminder for council and for those listening online, is that we receive provincial funding to help us cover the costs related to this project. That is my recommendation. If you have any questions, if not, I would ask you to move this, propose to move the adoption of my recommendation. Questions or comments on this? Councillor Evans. I'm prepared to move. I move that the Council for the Municipality District of Clare accept the proposal from Upland Planning and Design Inc. for the development of an active transportation plan in the amount of $69,930 plus HST. Moved by Councillor Evans, seconded by Councillor Hill. For? Against? Carried. This brings us to 12.2, motion to authorize a temporary borrowing resolution for the Clare Veterans Center. Oh,
Thank you very much. We had spoken about this at our last meeting, but as I mentioned in my report earlier this evening, this project of the Veterans Center is going ahead very well, and we hope that it will be finished before the end of this month. But there are a lot of works that is being done now, and there's a lot of invoices that come in to pay for this work. So what's happening presently, we receive financing, federal financing for this project, but we pay the invoices ourselves, and then we submit reclamations to the federal government to get part of the recuperate half of our spending at the provincial level. There are other programs that we will be asking for grants, and we're discussing now with the province, but this will take time to go through all the red tape to go through before it's approved for the financing. But it creates a situation, cash flow situation, although we're in good financial with this cash flow is an amount much more elevated than what we had originally approved for the construction. So the idea here is to do a temporary to the Caisse Populaire from Clare to allow us to complete this project, to replenish our reserves, and by waiting that the other sources of finances from the province and the federal will come into our coffers. So we just temporary borrowing to allow us to alleviate the cash flow pressures regarding this project. For the montant that we're asking compared is $3.3 million for purposes. We probably won't take this amount, but the whole amount right now, but we'll only take what we need, and as when the financing comes from the provincial and federal come into us, so this will allow us to go ahead. We need a motion from council to adopt this resolution of temporary borrowing and the kies populair. Yeah.
So in order to move ahead, I need council to adopt this motion. Any questions or comments on this? Deputy Warden Potier? That's something we need to do, so I'm prepared to make a motion. I move that the council for the municipality district of Clare authorize a temporary borrowing resolution with a request to borrow a sum not exceeding $3.3 million for the purposes of capital borrowing related to the construction of the new Clare Veterans Center. Moved by Deputy Warden Potier, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. For? Against? Carried. 12.3. Motion to increase funding for bylaw enforcement. Last year, we had a contract employee who was responsible for bylaw enforcement. That person quit last year. In the operational budget for this year, we hadn't allocated funds for that position. We thought that we might be able to get by with the staff that we have at the municipality downstairs. That being said, we are noticing that our public works employees are quite busy without adding to their bylaw enforcement to their responsibilities. That being said, we have the possibility of hiring somebody currently. It's an opportunity that came up. This gentleman applied for another job here at the municipality, something that was temporary. He's not looking for anything full-time. We didn't offer him that job, but we included him in the pool of candidates for another one. When we looked at his resume, this individual has about 30 years experience with RCMP and CSUS as well. Has a lot of experience in terms of property management. For RCMP and CSUS, that individual is currently retired, but he's looking for something part-time to help keep him busy. We've talked to him about this possibility. He indicated he was quite interested, and this is a need that we have. That being said, in order to allow us to move ahead, I would be asking you for an amount to be added to our operating budget this year, amount of $10,000. That would pay for the stipend that we would offer to this individual, but it would also allow a little bit of money for travel, for the purchase of a laptop and a cell phone. I think it's a good opportunity. It's something that I'd like to try because I think the need is there. We're seeing a lot of complaints about dangerous and unsightly, but the volume of work is that our staff downstairs can't keep up with that as well as doing their other work that they're doing with building inspections, civic addressing, fire inspections, etc. This would allow us to alleviate their workload. We're basically go back to the model we had before, is to have somebody in that role who, as I said, is not a permanent staff member, but somebody who's hired part-time and who would do the work when the need exists. If you agree going forward with that principle, we would need a bit of money to allow us to do this until the end of the fiscal year, and I would ask for $10,000 for this purpose. Questions or comments on that one? If not, we'd need a motion. Councillor Evans. I move that the Council of the Municipality of the District of Clare add $10,000 for bylaw enforcement as part of its 2025-26 operating budget. Moved by Councillor Evans, seconded by Councillor Hill. For? Against? Carried. 12.4, motion to provide interim funding for the Société Historique Acadienne de la Baie-Sainte-Marie. Thank you. As you know, the Société Historique Acadienne de la Baie-Sainte-Marie is working on a project to develop at Pointe-à-Margot, major point for the small chapel and the Acadian cemetery. The financing for that project was awarded under the Sustainable Communities Challenge Fund, a provincially funded fund administered by the Federation of Municipalities. As part of the funding mix for that, the municipality contributed an amount on this project. And the Société Historique also put a financial contribution to the project. The project is almost complete. We've been told that the project will be completed in September. Currently, it's at substantial completion, but there's still a few little things to do to get us to the end. So there's still a few bills to be paid. That being said, and it's the first time I've seen that, normally for government programs, either federal or provincial, there's always a holdback. Normally we're talking about 10%, and once we get to substantial completion, we can often make an argument to reduce the holdback from 10% to 5%. In this case, for this Sustainable Communities Challenge Fund, the holdback is 25%. Which means that all the claims under that program, they only get back 75% of the contribution, not the whole 100% that they should get. That holdback, what it does, especially for a non-profit organization like this one, who don't have deep pockets, it creates a cash flow problem. So the project is nearing its end. At the end, the municipality is working with them, has worked with them, help them with their submitting their claims, but it's at the point where they don't have any money because of this 25% holdback to pay the last bills plus the other bills to come in August and September. So what they're asking is if we could give them a temporary advance until September of $13,366, and the group gave me an accounting of those, the bills that they have who haven't yet been paid, as well as the bills that they expect to get between now over the next couple of months. The total is $13,366. So the intent would be when the project is completed, we help them submit their final claim to the funding group. The 25% holdback will be released, and the group would refund us this amount. As I said, it's a project that is an advantage to us for a municipality, certainly from a tourism point of view and what we offer to our visitors. They've done a very nice work for those of you who've been there. If not, you should go because it's really a significant improvement. And my recommendation, because we're working closely with them on this, is that we proceed with this temporary interim funding of $13,366 as requested. Questions or comments on this item? If not, is somebody prepared to move it? Councillor Evans. Thank you. It looks very nice. It's good to see the Pointe-à-Margot being improved like that. I move that the Council for the Municipality District of Clare provide interim funding to the Société Historique Acadienne de la Baie-Sainte-Marie in the amount of $13,366 to alleviate cash flow pressures involving Acadian Cemetery and Chapel project until such time as the mandatory 25% holdback imposed under the Sustainable Community Challenge Fund is released. Moved by Councillor Evans, seconded by Councillor Cooper. For? Against?
12.5, motion to amend the procurement policy. Thank you. The procurement policy for the municipality of Clare has been put in place in 2016 in the month of March, and it was to offer a structure to guide us to when we buy services and goods for or construction projects. There are limits inside the policy that after underneath a certain amount, now everything below $1,500, we could find a contractor and go ahead. The $1,500 to $15,000, we had to have 3 estimates, and from 15,000 above, we had to we had to do a we had to announce it at the provincial level and here, and when it was started, it was working quite well, but since then, there are costs, especially construction project, the prices are going up, and the limits as they were defined in our actual policy, it creates a situation that we, almost every time we must go a public tender process. We go on the provincial site to ask for submissions from exterior of the province, which takes more time than if we do it locally. It's a problem that's not unique to our municipality. It's something that's been discussed presently in many municipalities, especially in Southwest. Argyll just revised their procurement policy to increase their limits, and Barrington has done it recently, and they're also considering doing it again for the same reasons. So when we had our last meeting for committee 2 weeks ago, we proposed new limits, and also to make a distinction of the limits between goods and between services and also construction projects, these 3 categories. So you had a chance to look at the copy that was circulated in your package this evening. It is something that aligns well with what Argyll is doing presently and Barrington is doing also. So I think the other municipalities will follow these examples. So if you agree with me, I would ask you this evening a motion to approve the procurement policy as you have received it. As with all our policies, once they are approved by council, they are signed and they are put on our website, and they're available to the public if they want to know exactly what we have in this policy. For this reason, I will not go through the whole policy this evening, but essentially the revisions are necessary for us to allow us to function better when we go purchasing. So whether and I think it will help us to function in a much more efficient way. Are there any questions or comments on this one? Super. Deputy President, I'd like to make the motion. The costs are now rising all the time, so I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the proposed amendments to its procurement policy as circulated. Proposed by Deputy Warden Poitier, seconded by Councillor Hill. All those in favor? Motion carried. 12.6, motion to increase per diem rates. Thank you. Our per diem rates are the costs are always rising, and our per diems when we go to meetings elsewhere and conferences for the municipality, we are looking at the prices that were allowed for meals was right now it's $15 for breakfast and lunch, and I think $35 for supper. So it was $70. If you go with all the increasing costs of everything, this amount is option, especially if we go to workshops in the city where there are groups, the meetings. That's not where these per diems, especially for the lunch, are not sufficient. It's quite strict, so compared with the other municipalities across the province, here in the southwest Nova Scotia, the valley, to see how we compare to them. And comparing those, we are quite lower than them. Where it's not a municipality that goes to many, travels a lot, but there is, regardless, an obligation to see when people travel that they to go for workshops, and we'd ask them to get money from their pockets. So my recommendation is that we increase our per diems, that we go from $70, which exists now, to $85. And I think it is more in line with the other municipalities are charging. It's still lower than most of them, but I think it's something that is reasonable, especially in those days. And my recommendation, if you agree, that these tolls will be in effect on August 1st, 2025. For the 85, the breakdown, we say $20 for breakfast, $25 for lunch, and $40 for supper. Any questions or comments on this motion? Councillor Cooper. I'm ready to make the motion. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare increase its per diem rates effective August 1st, 2025 from $70 to $85, and broken down as follows: breakfast $20, lunch $25, and supper $40. Proposed by Councillor Cooper and seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. Reference in motion to name a road Diamond Drive. We were approached by Malta Holdings to name, which is it's for the Malta development here in Little Brook, where there was the ball field before. The only property impacted by this is the limited. It's just one road, which is, the number is bilingue and respects our bilingual. It respects the policy, municipal policy regarding the names. For this reason, it is my recommendation that we proceed with the name, the road en français, Allée Diamant and Diamond Drive in English. There are questions or comments or clarifications on this? Councillor Cooper. Yeah, I'll be ready to make the motion. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the road naming request for the road shared by the PID, property identification number, below as follows. In English, Diamond Drive; in French, Allée Diamant.
All in favor? Against? Carried. 12.8, motion to name road Red Maple Drive. Thank you. Here we have another request from Malta Holdings, very similar to the last one, for a development that will be started soon in Matagan. Similar to the last one in that there's only one property, and that belongs to Malta Holdings. The name chosen respects our municipal policy. It's bilingual. It's not used elsewhere in the municipality. So for those reasons, we don't see any problem with the request, and it's our recommendation that we proceed and approve the request in French, Allée des Réserabroux; in English, Red Maple Drive. Questions or comments on this one? Deputy Warden Potier. Prepared. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare approve the road naming request for the road shared by the PID, property identification number, listed below as follows: Red Maple Drive, Allée des Réserabroux. Moved by Deputy Warden Potier, seconded by Councillor Camo. All in favor? Against? Carried. Motion to name road Lakeview Court. Thank you. This one, 12.9 and 12.10, you could refer to the map that we have supplied for you. So Lakeview Court, or Cool Lakeview, is the orange section of the map. The road on the map impacts on 3 properties. All 3 were consulted on this. And the 3 property owners are in favor of the proposed name. So for those reasons and the fact that it meets all the other criteria for naming policy, it is my recommendation that we proceed with this request as submitted and that we approve it in French, Cour Lakeview, in English, Lakeview Court. Questions or comments? Councillor Camo. I'm prepared to move that the council for the municipality of the District of Clare approve the road naming request for the road shared by the PIDs, number listed below as follows: in English, Lakeview Court; in French, Cool Lakeview. Moved by Councillor Camo, seconded by Deputy Warden Potier. All in favor? Against? Carried. 12.10. A motion to name a road Lakeview Lane. Yes, this will deal with the yellow portion on the map. Once again, the name of this road will impact 3 property owners. The 3 were consulted. All are in 3 are in favor of the name. The name also respects our municipal policy, and for all those reasons, we are recommending to go ahead as requested in French, Ruelle Lakeview, and in English, Lakeview Lane. Questions or comments on this one, Councillor Camo? I'm prepared to move. I move that the council for the municipality of District of Clare approve the road naming request for the road shared by the PIDs listed below as follows: in English, Lakeview Lane; in French, Ruelle Lakeview. Moved by Councillor Camo, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All in favor? Against? Motion carried. Another motion to name a road, that's the last one for tonight, 12.11. Motion to name road Duane Lane. This one is a bit unique. Nonetheless, it respects the criteria for our policy. This road will impact on 7 properties. We send letters to the 7. We received a reply from 5 owners. All 5 were in favor of this as proposed. The other one they just didn't respond to our letter. So even if we have confirmation from 5 out of the 7, which is 71% of the properties impacted that are in favor. So for those reasons, it's the recommendation of the staff that we proceed with the name as asked in English, Duane Lane; in French, Ruelle Duane. In question, Councillor Hill.
Approve the road naming request for the road shared by the PIDs listed below as follows: in English, Duane Lane; in French, Ruelle Duane.
Moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Evans. All in favor? Against? Carried. 12.2. Motion to accept a proposal for traffic control services for the Gran Fondo de Sainte Marie. Yes, thank you. As part of the preparation planning for Gran Fondo, we have to look at traffic control services. It's a service that we need every year during this event. As has been our practice, we have a tender call for companies that are interested in providing that service. This year, we only got 1 response to our tender call, AWB Safety. It's a company that we've used in the past. We know them. They're very capable of doing it. They know the event. We had them. They had bid in 2023. The price is about $1,400 more than in 2023, which is normal. As we said, everything seems to be going up. That being said, their proposal is for $12,785 plus HST. It's the recommendation of the Grand Fondo Organizing Committee that we go ahead with their proposal. It's a service that we need, and they're the only ones who bid. But again, we know them, and they've done a good job in the past. That being said, it's my recommendation that we accept their proposal and that we give them the contract in the amount of $12,785 plus HST. Questions or comments? Councillor DeVoe. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare accept the proposal from AWP Safety for traffic control services during the 2025 Grand Fondo Baie-Sainte-Marie in the amount of $12,785 plus HST. Moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Councillor Cooper. All in favor? Against? Carried. 12.13, motion to award funding to the Electric City Nouvelle France Society. We were approached by Electricity La Nouvelle France Society last year as part of our grants to organizations program for their interpretation program. These are interpretation panels for their building. Last year, the council decided it was a project of $350,000. They were asking us for $5,000. The council had agreed to give them the $5,000, but it was conditional on confirming the rest of the funding. Unfortunately, the group continued to work on it, but they were unable to get confirmation for the balance of the funding. So the $5,000 that the municipality approved was never paid out to the group. So the group communicated with me recently, and I sent you an email to summarize that discussion to let me know that they have not stopped working and the project is moving ahead very well now, and that there seems to be quite a bit of interest from funding groups, federally, provincial, as well as the municipality of Digby. In the same email, they asked us to see if the $5,000, if they could still access that, because the money from the grants organization was approved last year, but one of the conditions was that it had to be spent during the previous fiscal year, which is not the case. So technically, they don't have access to that $5,000. That being said, if the council is willing, we have their request for funding. It's no longer a project of $350,000. They're saying now it's about $400,000. We have a bit of flexibility in our budget for grants to organizations. We could give them the $5,000 if council so desires. I spoke to a few of the funding agencies just to see, and it's true that there is some financing confirmed, some is being strongly considered. So it's quite promising, actually. So for me, as I said, it's a project that's in the municipality of Digby. The building is in Weymouth, but it certainly has a link with the Acadian culture and heritage, and that's the main reason why we had approved funding last year. My recommendation is, for the reasons that I have just outlined, would be that we approve this $5,000 again this year to allow them to move ahead with the project. And again, that it be conditional upon the rest of the financing being obtained. But based on the preliminary discussions that I've had with the other federal and provincial and municipal organizations, I'm more confident this time that the project will proceed. They have all the right players at the table, and I feel that they will succeed. So if you are in agreement, I would ask you to make a motion to give $5,000 to the Electricity La Nouvelle France Society under our Grants to Organizations program. Questions or comments on that? Nope. I am prepared to move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare award a grant of $5,000 from its 2025-26 Grants to Organizations program to the Electricity La Nouvelle France Society in support of the interpretive display project. Moved by Councillor Comeau, seconded by Councillor Hill. For, against, carried. There, we're all set for now. For Friday, we can make that announcement. This brings us to 12.14, repairs to the Bellows Cove Wharf. Yes, we have been advised, and we've confirmed it, but we were advised that at the Bellows Cove Wharf, our ladders are in hard shape. It's a question of safety. Some are not usable, so people can't use the ladders. They don't have access to the boats. There are others that the ladders are good, but there's some rungs missing on the ladders. We were there at low tide just to see for ourselves, and it's true that there's a risk that somebody could get hurt. Somebody could try to go down, and it's something that needs to be addressed because ultimately it's our responsibility. That being said, we spoke with two local contractors, people who could do the work. One doesn't have the time, the other one is prepared to do it. It's Blue Bay Construction. When it comes to wharf construction, that's something that they have some experience with. So we went there with him, and what we are proposing currently to address the problem is that we replace 4 ladders, complete replacement, and that we replace 31 rungs on other ladders. The ladders are still good, it's just a question of replacing some rungs. In the future, we're going to keep an eye on this and maybe include it in our budget for each year to replace 1 or 2 ladders or as needed, but to have at least to allocate some funds for that purpose and maybe for other repair work on this wharf. But this year, because we know what we know that those 4 ladders pose a safety risk, and it's something that I believe that we need to act. So the quote we got from Blue Bay is for $16,645 plus HST. We would take that from the Capital Reserve Fund because it's not something that we had planned for at the beginning of the year. That's why I'm bringing it here tonight. And Blue Bay Construction, they already have the materials needed to do the work. As soon as we give them the go-ahead, they could start tomorrow. He tells us that it would be completed within a week, which is good because we don't want it to drag out more than necessary. But in order to do that, we need a motion from council, be it with him or somebody else. That being said, for safety reasons, it's my recommendation that we accept $1,645 and that we start as soon as possible. Questions or comments on this one? Councillor Evans. Thank you. I think it's quite important to ensure the public safety. There's a lot of people using this wharf for recreational boaters, people who are diving for scallops, also some people who swim and they like to jump off the wharf, but they need a ladder to climb back up. So I would propose that I would move that the municipality accept the proposal from Blue Bay for the amount of $16,645 plus HST. Moved by Councillor Evans, seconded by Councillor Cooper. All in favor? Against? Carried. That being said, I don't know if I should follow her Evans just because for everybody to jump off the wharf, but just because one person went. That concludes our new business for tonight and brings us to number 13. Closed session. We have one item. There's a personnel matter to be discussed before asking for a motion to go to closed session. See that the date of the next meeting would be Wednesday, September 17th, 2025 at 7 p.m. That being said, I need a motion to go to closed session. Moved by Councillor Camo, seconded by Councillor Cooper. All in favor? Against? Carried. Good night.